welcome to Kaiba Health and Life. I'm your host, Kristen Wolosinovich, here with my beautiful co-host, Lisa Metropolis.
Hi, Kristen. I'm so excited today.
I am so excited. In the hot seat, the Rose, right?
The Rose, that's right.
She's absolutely stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Jen Veloso. Hello, Jen.
Hello.
How
Hi,
are
Jen.
you?
I'm doing very well. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm so excited. Lisa and I are so excited to have you today. And meeting you, first of all, you're very impressive. You are a registered nurse, correct?
Yes.
But more importantly, you work in the trauma unit at Hurley Hospital, which is a trauma level 1 hospital, downtown Flint, and you are on the dedicated trauma team.
That is true.
That is all correct, Kristen. Thank you. How amazing is that?
It's something.
Well, you're here today because you started a blog called We Are Kathy.
Yes.
Why is it called We Are Kathy?
So it's actually kind of a fun story. Me and 2 of my girlfriends, we dance at a dance studio on Tuesday nights throughout the school year.
Okay.
And we do tap, jazz, ballet, and
For fun?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
fun.
that's fun.
And the car ride home always turns into us just like venting about the week, about our day. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be so great if there was like some type of online blog, or I don't even know, that under like the pseudo name Kathy, you could be anonymous and
Why
you could
did
say
you
whatever
pick
you
Kathy,
want.
though?
I don't know. We
Isn't
just
it-
I've seen so many memes with Kathy.
yeah, with Kathy. Yeah, just the name Kathy.
Or
I like it.
Susan,
Or Susan.
or
Susan and
Karen.
Kathy.
I'm sorry, Karen. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Isn't that like
love
the
it.
Karen haircut? Can I see your manager haircut or something?
Yeah, I saw a meme that said, "Are you ready for Christmas?" I'm not even ready for tomorrow, Susan. So we are Kathy.
Yeah,
okay.
so we are Kathy.
I love it. I love it.
What day did you start it?
So actually, with a lot of planning and some help from my girlfriends, it started on my 30th birthday last year.
Happy birthday.
Happy
I thought you
birthday.
were 29 forever.
29 forever.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, that's
That's us.
me and Lisa. That's just me and Lisa. Well, okay. So tell us about some of the content. What are a couple recent stories that have really driven you?
Ooh, okay. So we like to do personal interviews with women and then share their stories. And the real big goal of the blog is to have, to you hear the story about the woman next to you in Meyer. You know, I don't want to hear about the Kardashians anymore. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about the way you're making an impact in the world around you. So a couple of the most recent stories, one of them is Sarah Sokoviak. She's actually a nurse who I work with. She serves in the National Guard. She's engaged to her fiance, Tori. They're like the cutest couple ever. And I shared her story about what it was like being a female in the National Guard, also being a lesbian in the National Guard. She got a really cool scholarship. The Veterans Association at U of M were like, hey, are you a medic in the military? And she's like, yeah. Like, hey, you want to go to nursing school and get done in 16 months and be a badass? And she's like, yes, I do.
You know,
That's incredible.
that's what it's all about. You write the content, but other people write for you as well.
I do the interview. It depends on the story, but for that one, I interviewed her. I have someone transcribe for me because it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I write out the interview and I take the pictures. And some of the pictures people will give to me because like there's some candid ones of her like doing a headstand and with her crew or whatever. So, but typically it goes like that.
So when you talk about your blog and what you do, and there's just so much that goes into it, because a lot of people are thinking, oh, I'd like to start a blog or I'd like to do this, but it's not just an off the top of your head
sharing or content sharing.
Right, because there's so much that goes into it. And like you said, some you have a transcriber sometimes because it's really about the personal content and the human interest of it. And that's really what you wanted to do.
You.
Yeah.
I hear what Lisa's saying because with Kaiba Health and Life is a magazine. And it's a lot of work, young lady. So here, what is a passion project for you?
Yeah.
We know what goes into for us to produce our magazine. It's a lot of work producing that blog, but it sounds like it's beyond rewarding for you.
Absolutely.
Oh, there's actually this is one of my favorite stories. There's this woman who she works at Hurley. She works behind the counter of Jasmine's Cafe, and her name is Katana. And
Jasmine's Cafe is within Hurley.
Yes.
Is it lower level down
Lower
in that
level,
area.
like right when you walk in the main lobby, you see Jasmine's. And
Okay.
on third shift, there's an employee there. Her name's Katana.
Katana.
And everyone loves her. Like all the nurses, all the staff, all the docs. You know, you go to order your coffee at nighttime, and there she
And really
is.
go for her, to see her and
Yeah.
her energy. Yes.
Yeah. And she hears everything from everyone. Everybody just like unloads on her, and she's just so happy and so sweet. But a couple years ago, her sister, who she was very close with, passed away, and she ended up taking in her sister's children and adopting them. And she went through a whole lot through it. And one of the nurses I work with was like, "Hey, you should interview Katana for your blog." And I was like, "Okay, that's a great idea." So I got a hold of her and I interviewed her, and just to share her story was so rewarding. And everybody was like, "Oh, I know her. That's my girl."
Is
you
that
know?
not so great? And what a privilege to be able to share her story. And every day she's just, we're in the trenches. You're in the trenches. So to be able to be lifted and kind of showcased,
I love that.
I bet she loved it, didn't she?
I love that. I love that there's a lot of focus on the healthcare professionals where you work.
Yeah.
And I love your background, of course, as nursing and focusing on a lot of that, the nurses there, because like Kristen and I, Kristen especially talks so much about getting more and more healthcare professionals in terms of nurses in here and telling their stories and, what we're doing and how we're helping them.
I think John Veloso is exactly
Yes.
what we're about, because it's also too, like you said, Lisa, we'll bring in specialists
Yeah.
and we bring in physicians and we bring everyone, but the trauma
Yes.
side of it, babe, it's just not going into a doctor's office. This is
Right.
something very intense. Was it something you always knew you would go into that side?
That's funny. You should ask. I definitely knew I wanted to be an ER nurse. I was a medical assistant with a nurse practitioner on the north side of Flint on Saginaw and Stewart for like 4.5 years. And she, I was originally going to go to school to be a PA. And then she was like, I really think you should volunteer in the
Hey,
ER.
I know where you should go,
Yeah.
Jen.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll try it out. And she had been an ER nurse at Hurley for like 11 years. And
Okay.
so I went there and I came back and I was like, I think I want to be an ER nurse. And she's like, I knew it.
Yep.
So I changed my career path from wanting to go to school to PA. I finished my bachelor's degree and then I went back to do the accelerated second degree program, and with the goal of like I knew I wanted to be ER. And when you get to ER, it's very shocking. It's not.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be. Well,
very
and it's
shocking.
very shocking overall, but Hurley's a whole different animal too,
Yes.
because you are dealing with, like we said, that is a level one trauma. That's where you go. That's where you go for for car accidents or gun wounds,
Yes.
or so you see everything. And I think, how long have you been there now?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. So here's my next question.
Sure.
How long does someone stay in the ER
Oh,
unit? Do
Yeah.
you stay there 25 years? I personally am assessing you don't, not for just for
so
mental
they
health reasons.
They say an ER nurse's life is about 5.
Yes.
If you make
Okay.
it past 5, you are a veteran.
Okay.
and you're getting there.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. So I think Kathy is such probably a beautiful outlet for you.
And what's funny is the nurses that I work with actually are the ones that inspired me, because there's, like, for example, there are 2 nurses that I think about quite often. One's name is Grace and the other his name is Jody. And when we would get traumas, I would watch them at the bedside just dominate and be these like badass women. Just like,
Yes.
Don't you
and
love it?
Grace was like 9 months pregnant, like taking care of this
Excuse
crazy.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she's so sweet and soft at the same time. And I was like, no one will ever know their story. No one will ever know what these women have done. And I've
Every
got
day,
to
This
share their
is-
story.
This is it, isn't it? Jen is it. And it's funny too, because I come from a line of nurses as well. And they went into psychiatric. They became therapists. They loved that side of it as well. That's why I have an MBA in business, because I can't handle blood or a lot of things. But I think too, young nurses come in. So when I was finishing my grad school, and my friend went back to nursing school. She had raised her kids. She's back in nursing school, and we're both kind of studying at the same time. She's like, I'm very nervous. And I said, oh gosh, Lisa, you'll be fine. She said, Kristen, you mess up and it's a spelling error. I mess up and it's someone's life.
Yeah.
And it's just such a different world, and that really hit home with me. But for you, you have to go in, you have to jump in, and you have to follow these strong women,
Right.
correct? Did you
Yeah.
have some pretty cool mentors who don't put up with a lot of things?
Probably the biggest one is her name's Jody McKenzie. She is just watching her work is amazing. And she doesn't sometimes nurses have a naughty reputation of eating their young. No, I have vivid memories of horrible traumas, and Jody would grab me and be like, "You're coming over here, you're
She
doing
would
this with me."
educate you.
Yeah, like, this is how you do this is how you do that. But
That's
she
great.
always did things with this genuineness about her. And a lot of times it's easy to get wrapped up in like your tasks at the bedside,
Yeah.
like you're doing so many things, but she'll always reach over to the patient and be like, "Hey, a lot of things are going to happen to you right now. There's going to be a lot of people in your face, but we're doing this because we love you, we care about you."
What is her name?
Jody McKenzie.
Jody McKenzie. And I think you, Jen Veloso, will lead that way as well.
Yes.
That's the way to lead, to educate. We get very snippy, snappy, caught up with blinders, and especially within that field. I mean, nurses do have a reputation of being to the point, quick, almost desensitized.
You have to just desensitize, and you have to run a very tight ship constantly. Like you constantly have to stay on task. So there's not a lot of time.
Because I don't think it's personal, right? Like you guys are in the zone, but us as patients take it very personally, especially in the ER, because we're scared.
Yeah, it's hard because you'll have, if you're not working trauma, you'll be in a core, which is where you have 4 rooms, and you could have a patient that just passed away in room 10, and you coded them for 45 minutes, and then you have to go into room 11
And give cough syrup or something.
Right.
Yeah, nobody knows,
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You have to be tender to both people.
Right.
How do you decompress?
Whoa.
You dance. I'm sure you dance.
Yeah.
I dance. The blog is really great.
Yeah.
I do that with 2 other women, Svieta and Sarah, and
Give them some props.
Oh,
What
yeah.
are their names again?
Sarah Elkins and Svieta Petty. They both help me a lot. They are both unique in their own ways, and they add to the blog. And when I work with them, it's a relief. Like we're talking about inspiring women, encouraging women, and the 3 of us work together to try to figure out like what's our next story, what are we going to talk about, what are we going to focus on. That's a really big way to decompress.
And it's mostly women, correct? Do you hyper
only
focus on girls? High five.
High
hashtag
five,
girl
yeah.
club. I mean, we like men.
We do.
Yes.
We
them.
love when men
Yeah.
are in the studio. We love them. But
It's true. And
I do believe this is a great platform to showcase women, because we say all the time, like Lisa and I are balancing work, we're balancing kids, we're balancing everything. And it's funny because, this women's movement, right? We
Yeah,
are
I'm all
strong. We
about
are
it.
burning our bras, but yeah, you're all about it. But we work as though we're expected to not have a family at home. And then we have a family at home as if expected not to work 40 to 80 hours a week.
True.
So it's almost every woman I bring in, we say, "Is there balance?" And everyone says, "No."
Yeah.
That's reality.
Yeah,
That's
I did
the reality.
I did an interview on a woman. Her name's Britt Huter. She's a photographer in the Ann Arbor, Detroit area, and she's got 2 little babies. I mean, not babies, but like one's like almost 1, I think, and one's almost 3. And I asked her, I'm like, "How do you have this amazing photography business, and you're married, and you have these really little kids?" And I'll never forget. She just hugged herself, and she's like, "I knew you were going to ask that." And she's like, "There is no balance.
There isn't.
You just do every day, one step at a time."
Yeah.
And you do the best you know how to do at that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
We giggle too. We laugh a lot. You have
If you don't laugh, you'll cry, Jen.
we laugh a lot. So, okay, so tell us a couple more stories that have really moved you. And it looks like you have a really core team, and the women that you are showcasing are really amazing. And that was why we started this platform too. Was a lot of them, they don't want they don't want to be in the forefront. They're
Yeah.
behind the scenes, and they're doing their thing, and they're doing their thing, baby.
Yeah.
Big time. And we're like you. We just want to give them their props. We want to take
Absolutely.
that time.
Absolutely.
And I love what you're doing. And are you Facebook specific?
No, we have an Instagram too.
So Instagram and Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook, and then our website too. We are Kathy.com.
We are.
Oh, so you have
Kathy.
so your website is and out there, just www.wearekathy.com.
Yep, perfect.
So we are going to do a story on you
Oh,
because I think it's Jen Veloso's turn to be written about and showcased about because it's people, leaders like you in the community that make all the difference. Flint girl.
oh yeah, raised straight up.
Born and raised, you live in downtown Flint.
Yep, I actually grew up on the corner of Flushing and Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And then when I think was in about second grade, we moved into the neighborhood across the street from Ma, and then I grew up there, and then I met the most delightful man in the world.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Where do you want to live? You can have a house." I'm like, "Honestly, I want to live in the neighborhood I grew up in. I love
that.
It's magical in there. I don't know what it is. There's magic in the trees or something."
Is it? Well, I think you're magical. So I think that's really great. And we are Kathy. We want to blow you up, Facebook, Instagram, and
Thank you.
start to showcase and the work you do, the ER. Because one thing as well, I love to hear your decompression, how you do, because you probably, as soon as you enter those double doors, it's straight cortisol, it's straight fight or flight, it's straight, it's all very reactionary. And we laugh because we're very close with Dr. Ray Rudoni, who's head of the emergency room at McLaren.
Oh, cool.
And he's very charismatic and very, very good. And
ER docs are a lot of
you
fun.
have to be like that. Don't you
Yeah.
think the ER docs have to have that mentality?
Yeah.
We'll interview specialists who are very, very
That
detailed.
is not ER.
That
No.
is not
Right.
ER.
Right. It's not ER.
We're
That's
the
true.
rough carpenters. We're not the
Yeah.
we're not doing the base and trim.
You're not. Yeah. What is that called at the top? What is that called when you put the carpenter? the molding.
mold-
Yeah,
molding?
the molding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do
I'm
that.
kind of fancy.
That's the
What's that thing
neurotrauma
called?
nurses.
Yeah, the neurotrauma.
Yeah.
You guys are the. Are you digging
We're
the
rough-
basements?
Yeah, we're digging the basements.
right.
And we're
Right.
slapping up some boards.
That's right. And I
It's
love that. I
amazing.
love that. We love that. And you know, like Kristen was saying, to do that at Hurley, to do that, you know, right here in Flint, you know, in the city, it's just, and to have your blog, all of it is just such a wonderful. Everything is such a good wheelhouse to have.
It's
an
pretty
outlet.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What she's saying is we really like you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We like you, and we're just really excited that all of that information is being disseminated and the way that you're doing it for your healthcare professionals and for, you know, to get Hurley out there also.
And we love the stories that you're sharing, and we love that you're putting beauty out in the world, because really that's what it's all about. And I also want to give props to the beautiful Emma Philpotts, who did this introduction, and she is a recent RN, registered nurse. So that little birdie's out that nest. She's working hard, and kudos to you, to you nurses, because we love our docs, but we know you guys are in the
it's
trenches.
our nurses. Yeah. My sister is a nurse. My cousin Olivia is a nurse at Hurley.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And my sister worked at Hurley for several years. And I have several family members who are nurses also. So it's so important to us. Our families are nurses through and through.
Yeah, and we'll continue to have you on
Yeah.
because there's big topics. My mom was Flint Regional Emergency Services, which started in Hurley's basement in the
so
80s
cool.
for the first suicide hotline. And she is a retired therapist from Community Mental Health.
Wow.
And Aunt's a nurse and Grandma's a nurse.
Yes.
And Lisa and I have a talk show. So you do the math.
For a reason.
Because we can't, and that's why we're
That's
not
right. I
nurses.
can't. Yes. And I'm so proud. We are so proud of our family members who do, and of you. That's why I keep saying what
To
I
me,
do.
it just, you guys are a special breed, and you're no nonsense, and you are pioneers. So thank you. And then a couple quick things. You're seeing a lot of men coming into your field.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I love
so
it.
cool.
I
Yeah.
love it.
You know
I
what
love the dudes I work with. They're
Isn't
the
it
best.
great?
Oh,
I love that.
we got to
you're seeing
cut down
shift.
on that estrogen.
You know what? I agree with you. A lot of women get a little amped up a
Ooh,
little
it
bit.
can
You
get, the
get
guys
those
can
guys.
be like, okay, everybody calm down.
Ladies.
Everybody's on their cycle right now. We can tell.
Hey, ladies. But what I think, too, you guys do a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of moving. It's probably cool to have those men there to kind of help do...
Bless their muscles.
That. Yeah, I think it's really cool. So we are Kathy, Jen Veloso. And here's my other question, and I don't know. I think I see, because Lisa and I see a lot.
Yeah.
We're visionaries. I see you growing, and you'll I see this effort growing big
I
time.
love the name We Are Kathy because you start with a platform here, but then it grows into something else. You're probably doing so many interviews and talking to so many people where it takes you on a different direction. Kristen and I have that all the time where we think one thing and then we go into a different direction and it opens up this entire partnership or possibility and something else. So We Are Kathy really, we can see that happening.
And one thing I see too that is some of your patients probably have just what's the word I'm looking for? And I usually am not a lack for words, but you've probably seen cases that are God-given, that have just defied death. So there's probably patients that you have seen that are just insanely have survived something that you would never, and that's when we need to talk. We interview people all the time like that, every single day. So, well, Jen, you're welcome. You're part of the club. You're part of the sisterhood. It's going to be really magical.
Thank you.
So we are Kathy, Instagram, Facebook, website. If people are interested in sharing their story with you, they can just message you.
We love it. So many people have been like, hey, I know this woman. Can you share a story? And we're like, yeah, let's talk to her. We would love to. We want you to know. And the thing too that we have on our website is their stories, her stories, our stories. Like we all share a story somehow. Like anyone you meet, you can be like, oh, wow, I have that in common too. Or there's always someone next to you, and even if they look fine in the line at Meyer, they're going through a struggle too, you know? And so we just want to create a space for women where they can share these stories, we can learn from each other, grow, and inspire each other, because we got to empower your homegirls.
We got to have each other's back, and I think their story of struggle is going to be another story of hope.
Yes, that was so well said.
We love you, Jen Veloso.
We do.
You will be also coming on Hope for Flint girl, born and raised, doing her thing at Hurley. We Are Kathy. You guys, viewers, listeners, check it out. On behalf of the gorgeous Lisa Metropolis, I'm your host, Kristen Willisonovich. This has been Kaiba, Health and Life.